March 1943, Italian Air Force Airfield Turin, Mirafiori factories. The one who steps out of a plane flown by himself is one of the best German designers, the best of his generation, and the natural heir of Hugo Junkers and Ernst Heinkel. He is a designer who bases his design on direct experience mixed with theory. In physics, one would say he is similar to an Enrico Fermi, and he is a reckless aircraft test pilot who puts the aircraft entrusted to him to the rope to get the best it can give and highlight its possible shortcomings. For this reason he is loved and respected by the Luftwaffe pilots. They know that the notes of his planes were written directly by him and indicate exactly what the aircraft is capable of doing. He is in Turin for an exceptional task, delegated by Goering and Speer. His name sounds like a gunshot. He is Kurt Tank. That morning in 1943, Kurt Tank, I could say he is a bit like St. Thomas. If the comparison didn't sound a bit blasphemous, he doesn't believe until he touches it with his own hands. They told him so many amazing things about an aircraft designed by one of the most brilliant Italian designers, Giovanni Gabrielli. He comes to Turin to see for himself, to try it himself as a test pilot, to get his hands on what his collaborators, the other ranks of the Luftwaffe, the pilots who were able to try it, described as an exceptional aircraft. Exceptional in aerodynamics, exceptional in maneuverability, exceptional in structure, exceptional in armament, exceptional in the ability to be reproduced quickly in both Italian and German factories. Kurt Tank, as soon as he gets off in Turin, wants to try the Fiat G55 right away. Feel the sensations it transmits, because Kurt Tank immediately feels if an airplane is a champion or a mediocrity. This comes from decades of tests and creations, which have explored all the construction techniques, all the design lines, drawing guidelines that lead to excellent projects. He has an immense knowledge that comes from the continuous feedback between practice and theory. He can immediately find the way to obtain the best in an airplane project. He has many affinities with the designer of the Fiat G55, the same enthusiasm, the same lucidity, the unconditional love for the techniques of Rohrbach that both encountered when they were young, and of Professor Wagner, who worked there and who at the end of the 20s was already designing advanced designs at the limits of aerodynamics. They were then united by the common veneration for Professor von Karman and his vision of the science of high-energy aerodynamics. The Italian engineer was the assistant of the great Hungarian theoretician in Aachen. The designer of the G55 is Gabrielli, and with Tank he understands wonderfully. Kurt Tank climbs on the G55 and begins a test at the limits of the flight envelope, with dives, turns, loops that go beyond what the other German pilots had told him. The aircraft is exceptional. It responds easily to the maneuvers with dive speeds that go beyond what Tank had imagined could be performed without incurring aeroelastic phenomena that are even dampened immediately without any document for the structure. He is back on the ground, gets off the aircraft, goes to meet Gabrielli and congratulates him. His judgment is extremely positive and confirms what the other German experimental pilots had already written down in their reports in Guidonia addressed to Göring. Tank's report confirms everything, so Goering and Speer decide that the Italian fighter will have to represent the unitary fighter of the Axis, and they begin to organize its production in Germany in parallel with the series production in Italy. Tank is an honest person, because the main competitor of the Italian fighter was his creation. It was the Focke-Wulf 190, which in the 1943 version is inferior to the Italian fighter, which is even about to give rise to a further version powered by the Daimler-Benz 603 that will push it to over 700 km per hour, with the possibility of mounting the very powerful 30mm cannon capable of shooting down an Allied four-engine plane with a single shot. I report the production plans of the Italian production ring that should have started already in 1942 and that instead will be postponed by a year. If the mass production plan supported by Gabrielli had been put into action already in the first half of 1943, it would have been such, as you can see from the graph. To have in line for June 1943 as many as 650 Fiat G55 that would have been added to the amount produced by Mackay 205 and Reggiane 2005. A formidable interdiction, interception and air combat force, which, among other things, operating from airfields of the mother country and not after large cruise flights like the Allied aircraft to reach their Italian targets would have counted double. We will return to the Italian fighters of the 5 series and the 6 series in other videos, because they incorporate so many qualities to place them at the top of the international military aeronautics of the time. I wish you a good day. See you soon.